Today we're going to be taking a look at the new 3-in-1 medieval horse knight castle. I don't usually review new LEGO sets on my channel, but when this set was announced I knew I wanted to make a review for it. And that's because unlike a lot of 3-in-1 sets, I think all three models of the medieval horse knight castle are pretty good, so we will take a look at each one of them in this video. Since reviewing all three models is already challenging enough as it is, I will spend a little bit less time on the B and C models to focus more on the A model. Before we do that though, we'll need to take a closer look at those minifigures. So, we get 6 minifigures. One of them is a part of this new snake faction with a black and yellow color scheme. The other 5 seem to be a part of the new horse faction. One of them is a civilian, but the other characters are knights or a part of royalty. These lovely people get a decent amount of accessories, the coolest ones being the new shields for the new factions. These new shields look awesome, but I can't help noticing the missed opportunity to unite the new Horse Knights and the Dragonborn Paladin into a single faction. Their shields and general design language are really similar, but I guess LEGO wanted these characters to be separate from one another instead of being one single faction. It's a bit of a missed opportunity, but whatever. Anyways, I think it's time to look at the actual set. Let's start with the C model, which is this Joust game. This model comes with 2 brick-built horses, and these horses have some colorful decorations to match with their rider. The riders themselves are wearing capes and special helmets to protect their heads when they inevitably fall to the ground during the Joust game. The rest of the model is this large structure consisting of 2 towers. If we start on the left side, we'll find a place to have a drink and eat some snacks. Next to that, we have our first tower, which is nicely decorated with plenty of cool shapes and angles. The interior of this tower consists of a stable for the horses, a desk to write some Sonic fanfictions, and a treasure chest. The other tower looks about the same from the exterior, but the inside is completely different. Here, we'll find a blacksmith shop, a bed, and a place to store your armor. Between those 2 towers, there's a place for the king and queen to sit and watch the game. And finally, the right side of this building is some kind of storage space for various types of weapons. And you'll see right next to this yellow flag that there's a bar connection piece, and this seems to suggest that this building is only a small part of a larger structure. With a lot more pieces at our disposal, we could build an entire courtyard surrounding this Joust game. So overall, this model is pretty good, even if it is a bit simple. I could imagine some kids or a 22-year-old adult having a lot of fun with this set by creating some jousting matches or some improvised gladiator combats. I don't know about you, but I think this model has a fun vibe. Now, let's look at the B model, which is this small bailey with a windmill and a bakery. With the actual building, we get a small cart with some cool products to sell, and we get a brick-built sheep. As you can see, this structure is closed up on all sides. So before we look at the interior, I'll give you a few seconds to admire every detail on this exterior wall. Alright, it's time to see the interior. We can open up the bailey to discover the first building, which is this bakery with a windmill on top of it. We can see a small oven inside where we can make some bread or some croissant. If your hands are too big to fit inside this space, well, we can remove the roof to get better access. Next to this bakery, there's a small table with somebody's lunch on it, and next to that, there's a watchtower that can be used to locate incoming bandits. This watchtower shares a wall with this small house next to it. And just like the bakery, we can remove the roof to look inside. Here, we'll discover a bed, a candle, and a small table in front of this curved window. We can then remove this entire section of the house to look at the ground floor where there is, well, nothing except the door and another secret door that leads to the outside of the bailey. And yeah, that's about it. Overall, I think this model offers some cool play possibilities, and I think it is nicely decorated all around. For example, I really like the rock texture on the walls of the bailey, and I also like the bits of decorations and ornaments that stick out from the buildings. Quite simply, I think this is a decent model. But finally, let's look at the A model, which is this large castle. First of all, I want to say that I think this model looks really cool, but it has some issues. The biggest issue, for me at least, is the fact that this model feels a bit flimsy. The previous model was also a bit flimsy, but I could forgive it because it wasn't the main model of the set. But this model is the main model, and it suffers from the same issues. Now, I know some people are going to be quick to point out that this set is a 3-in-1, so of course each model is going to suffer a little bit in the end, and that's fair. But the problem is that I'm writing this review with the recent Lion Knight's castle next to me, and that set holds up a lot better. Even with all its weird angles and details, the Lion Knight's castle is extremely sturdy. It doesn't move or break apart when I move it around, which is sadly not the case for the medieval Horse Knight castle. Alright, just look at this, you'll see what I mean. I can move the front gate from side to side very gently, and by doing so, I'm loosening the connection of this bar and clip attachment on the left side. This feels really cheap, and I don't like it. There's no other way of saying it, this connection system is simply not good enough for a set like this. That being said, most people who buy this set will simply build it once and leave it on a shelf, so these issues will be completely irrelevant to them, so you can just forget what I've just said, it's pointless. Whatever, let's take a look at the details of this castle. The main gate, or actually I should say the entire wall, can be removed from the structure at the back. This gives us a small fortified outpost that actually holds up pretty well on its own. And if some friends of ours want to get inside this outpost, we can simply lower the drawbridge and let them inside. Each side of the entrance comes with a watchtower, but there's actually no way for the minifigs to get up there. No staircase or no ladder. And then if we follow this walkway up above, we'll come across this other watchtower, but with windows. Yeah, okay, cool, nice. Another watchtower next to a watchtower, that's great. The rest of the walkway is pretty standard, so let's go look at the outside wall. As we make our way around the structure, we'll find a tree and a couple of arrow slits that nicely decorate the wall. Now let's look at the rest of the castle. Normally these little bits on the sides would be connected to the previous section, which is the wall that we've just seen, but they could also be connected with the B and C models of this set, since the clip attachments stand at 5 bricks and 1 plate tall on each model. Obviously, I only bought one copy of this set, but if you had a lot of money and no interest in making a mock of your own, you could combine all 3 models of this set into a massive castle. Anyways, this door leads to the dining hall, which is nicely decorated with some candles, some shield banners, a chandelier, a fireplace, and a couple of seats for everyone to sit down and enjoy a nice meal. Next to the dining hall, we'll find a small blacksmith shop that doubles as a stable for the horses. This room comes with a staircase that leads to the 2nd floor, where we'll find a small bedroom. If we wanted to, we could then remove this room to get better access to the balcony. And finally, the last part of the structure is the watchtower on the right of the bedroom. And yeah, that completes the A model of the medieval Horse Knight castle. So overall, what do I think of this model and this set? Well, like I said earlier, the general flimsiness of the model is a bit annoying, and I also don't like the large amount of colors that are used somewhat randomly in each model. It's not that I don't like colors, I just don't think it looks good when you combine random colors together for the same build. For example, this tree here is made up of parts in medium nougat, reddish brown, dark tan, and olive green. Am I alone in thinking this is ugly? Because I think this looks really bad. There was no need to include 4 different colors for this one dumbass tree, that's just ridiculous. And then there's another color choice that I find really strange, which is the use of medium nougat and dark orange for the bar and clip attachments. Clearly, dark bluish gray would have looked far better, but sure, I guess. We got weird colors. Also, why the fuck is there sand green up here? Like, seriously, what's the point? What's this even supposed to represent? It's such a random color choice, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's weird, man, but whatever. Color options aside, I still think this model looks pretty good, and that's mostly thanks to the weird shaping and all the ornaments that decorate the walls of the castle. Seriously, this set goes all out on the decorations, and I love it. And with a few modification or add-ons, I think this set would be even better to create some cool stories than it already is. But yeah, I think that covers about everything. Overall, I like all 3 models, I like the minifigures, and I like the new castle factions. Hopefully we'll get some more sets with these factions in the near future, but for now that's all we have. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today, and thanks for watching.